have you ever found yourself laying awake in the middle of the night, ruminating on old conversations, wondering, did I say the right thing? Or maybe thinking about things that you've done in the day with that same mindset of, did I do the right thing? Or maybe you find yourself laying awake in the middle of the night or doing autopilot tasks like washing the dishes, taking a shower, and finding yourself questioning all the things that you've done in the day. I should have done this. I should have done that. Or do you ever feel like no matter what you do, it's just not quite right? Like you always are kind of caught in the middle ground of what you want to be doing genuinely and also what you should be doing. Take a breath, because I'm going to ask a deep question now. But do you feel like you have choice? No judgment in that. You see, everyone, I am here to talk about choice because for today's tickle topic, one thing that I've noticed is so many people out there, myself included, feel like we don't have choice. We end up feeling like the things that we're doing out of obligation because we're shitting ourselves and everything in between. But what if you could bring in more choice? What if you could trust the choices that you were making? So everybody, I'm going to take another beat and take a little moment and bring back my tickle topic song while we wait for everybody else to join us. Hey, Jason. Hey, Carter. Hey, John, because it's Thursday and tickles are back. You know what time it is? It's 9 a.m. Pacific, everybody. I like expansion, I cannot lie. Tickle time is gonna fly. When you tune in, life can't help but grin, cause we're diving with and you get real results day by day. More confidence coming your way. You feel safe in your own mind in the space that's kind of baby, it's time to shine and it's tickle time. So everybody, for today's tickle topic, we are talking about is the illusion of choice. And are we really in control of our choices? Hey, Colson. Hey, Karen. You see, I'm so excited and honored to be talking to you today about choice, this really elusive thing in my life for a really long time. Although, to be honest, I'm so excited to be where I'm at. I'm in a new home, I'm in a happy marriage, and I'm leaning into choices from a place of freedom and safety. I'm taking guilt-free naps. I did puppy yoga last week in the middle of the day, and I'm placing boundaries like a badass, even though sometimes they get me feeling a little tight and tense. Boundary choices weren't something that I felt like I could have. And so take a breath into that. Let me know in the comments, what's one thing that you feel like you don't always have choice around? Maybe it's boundaries. Maybe it's how late you can sleep in. Maybe it's just having to commute every day to work. Maybe it's drinking the type of coffee that you drink because your partner drinks the coffee or your best friend told you it was the best type of coffee. No judgment. But what we're going to be talking about today is, are we really in control of the choices that we're making? You see, like I said, I'm so excited to be where I'm at today talking to you about choice, but it wasn't always like this. I used to swallow my choices. I used to swallow my words. My choices were always deemed when I was young as wrong or too much or too silly or too out of the box. And I started to separate myself from my choices because it didn't feel safe. Rising from within, I'm feeling good. How are you doing? But it's in that space of really feeling like I didn't have choice growing up. And many of us, especially statistically proven, women are more likely to feel disconnected from their choices, disconnected from their sovereignty and independence. So growing up, my choices were too much, too silly. I grew up in a military household, so it was very much rather the mindset of do as you're told. Take a breath if that resonates in any way, shape, or form. How these challenges showed up in my life was with a really loud inner critic. That kind of mean voice sometimes in your head that's constantly second guessing you, bringing up the what ifs and everything in between. That voice of my parents, of societal expectations, of grandparents that was always having me second guess myself, hold myself back because of the wound of being too much or simultaneously just not enough. It showed up as perfectionist tendencies of short-lived achievement periods and constantly getting hyper-focused on details because I was addicted to overachieving. I said it. Drop a yes in the comments if you can relate. I was addicted to overachieving. And I had this constant underlying feeling of resentment because I was hiding my choices. I was hiding my authenticity. I was climbing the mountain of success because everyone told me to climb it. And next thing you know, let me tell you, nothing's going to be more frustrating, disheartening, or isolating than climbing a mountain of success only to realize it wasn't yours. My moment of choice came in 2016. I was on a dirty theater floor in Czech Republic, covered in stale beer, shame, and guilt. And I was in the most toxic, abusive relationship I had been in my whole life. And it was in that moment, covered in that dirty theater floor, years of being dismissed, of being shunned, of just getting smaller and smaller and fading, losing myself day by day. That day, that summer, July 2016, there was a door that was open. And I remember the breeze hitting my face. And for the first time in a long time, I felt present. Take a breath into that. So much of my life, I realized I had been on autopilot, doing what other people's wanted me to do, getting the good job, getting into the relationships, doing the things because it was normal. And last month I took a bold stand against normal because plot twist, it's not real. But on that theater floor, feeling that breeze, covered in stale bare shame and guilt, I heard a voice that said, "Get up." And it was a voice and a feeling that I hadn't heard in a really long time, one of conviction. And for the first time in a really long time, it felt like I had choice. And in that moment of feeling choice, of feeling a glimmer of freedom, of hope, of possibility, I got up. And day by day, week by week, I pulled myself off of that dirty theater floor and I hit the emotional gym, although I had no idea what I was doing, because no one teaches us how to have choice. No one teaches us how to process our emotions. We live in a society of external expectations, of produce equals value, of go, 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 again, especially as women. So day by day, week by week, I pulled myself up. I built up my muscle of trust. I built up the body of self-worth, and I found a mentor who invited me to think outside of the box. Not only did I dive into that, I joined an intensive group program so I could really learn the DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, tactile tools. I took my degree of psychology and sociology, and I turned it from external to internal. And everything changed. Was it easy? No. Was it sparkles and rainbows? Sometimes. But was it worth it? Hell yes. Fudge yes. Because as my client said, there's something that happens when we're living in our safe autopilot of normalcy, of drinking the coffee because we're supposed to drink coffee, of doing the commute because we're supposed to be doing the commute, but it doesn't have to be like that. We all know what it's like to feel the weight of judgment over our choices. Whether it's the pressure to conform, whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection, or the constant feeling that our decisions or our being is too much or not enough. We've all carried that heavy backpack of doubt at some point. And maybe you've hidden a part of yourself because it didn't feel safe. Maybe you've given up on your choices or your dreams or your desires because it just felt too overwhelming. Maybe it's been easier to surrender to the expectation of others, like I did. That sense of not trusting your own voice, of getting a loud inner critic, of getting caught in decision paralysis, of feeling resentment and anger. It doesn't have to be like that. I promise. I promise. And so today's Tickle topic, what we're going to be doing is not just talking about the illusion of choice, but I'm going to share with you one easy, playful, fun trick that you can start to bring into your daily life so you can have more choice and more emotional freedom. Whether that's guilt-free naps, whether that's taking time off, whether it's just being present with your family. In fact, drop in the chat, drop in the comments. What's one thing that you would really like to have more choice and experience in? What would that look like for you? Friends, work, money, no judgment. Bring it all here. This is the safe space, everyone. Yeah. And so we have choice. Rising from within, I'm an embodiment and somatic practitioner, and so I'll be talking a little bit more about that. But yeah, I'm here to share these resources with you because my job is to be a resource for others, a resource I wish I had had in my journey of healing and development. My goal is to have women feel safe in their own mind and to break out of normal boxes and to say goodbye to recovering perfectionism, silencing themselves, and feeling like they at their core are too much. And so everybody, what I want to talk about is really thinking about what is this fun, easy, playful thing that we can start to bring into our lives to feel like we have more choice, because so often we feel like we're not in control of our decisions. We tell ourselves maybe that we're making the best choices based on logic and we believe everything is right. But the truth is many of our decisions are shaped long before we even realize them. By external influences, by societal expectations, by past conditioning, by fear. Take a breath, even thinking like, last month? How many choices would you say that your fear made? I know my fear made a couple of choices because, again, healing is not linear. This is an evolution. Your emotions and your choice are going to evolve alongside you. And I want to give this metaphor. I want you to think about your mind as a garden. Because you see, at first glance, it looks like this garden is lush, it's green, it's beautiful, it's blossoming. But as you start to walk through it, you notice that all the plants aren't really plants that you've chosen or seeds that you've put down. These seeds might have been placed by past expectations, by fear, by your parents, by societal expectations, by TV, by your childhood. And those seeds that were planted of not enough, of you're too wild, you're too quirky, you're too loud, you're not feminine enough, whatever it is that you took in, that seed was planted and it grew into a belief and a pattern, which is why maybe you've heard of the term limiting beliefs. If you're like, Des, what is a limiting belief? It's a belief that limits you in some way that was created during an emotional experience. Plot twist, it's not true. It's normally not real. Or you can think of them as emotionalized thoughts because, again, there's these seeds, these emotionalized thoughts that were created during an emotionalized time in your life that limit you in some way. Again, plot twist, normally not true. So, again, these seeds that have been placed by these past expectations, they start to grow into beliefs, into patterns that dictate, honestly, much of what we do. How you think, the choices that you make, the templates that you've stepped into, whether that's love, work, boundaries. And you might think like you're walking freely through the garden, like, nope, everything's on my end, like I'm doing everything, I'm picking the flowers I want. But in reality, many of those flowers, again, were chosen for you long ago. And that might feel frustrating. It might feel tense. For myself and many of my clients, it feels caging. It feels like no one understands us. And it feels like we're limited to these experiences that we've had in the past. And we want to do the thing. I want to do the thing. And then that moment happens and you're like, shiitake. I did the other thing again. I told myself I wasn't going to be reactive. I told myself I wasn't going to lash out. I wasn't going to have that extra glass of wine at the end of the night. I wasn't going to say yes, even though deep down I really want to say no. But then again, moment happens and you say yes. No judgment. Your nervous system, those seeds are just really rooted in your patterns, but they're totally possible to pick up. And I want you to just take a moment and imagine what your life could look like if every decision you made was rooted in alignment. What would that look like for you? What if you could wake up each day feeling confident in the choices that you made? If you could feel free from the nagging inner critic of doubt that you're living up to someone else's expectations? What if you could be in relationships and not feel like you have to prove your self-worth? What if you could be at work and not have to prove your self-worth? When you embrace mindful decision making, you open the door to a world of possibilities. But how? How do you reclaim your thoughts? For this exercise, I just want to let you know about the wild card day. And this is something I'm going to invite you to do on your own. And if you're like, I don't know, I really want accountability, let me know, because inside my private Facebook group, Women of Wisdom, we're taking accountability as we lean into the wild card day exercise. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick one day each week for the month of September. And I want you to do something that's totally out of the ordinary. I mean, truly like a wild card. Maybe it's you try a new coffee order, or you wear that bold outfit that's in your closet that you've been wanting to wear for a long time, or you do your hair a different way. Maybe instead of leaving your house through the front door, you leave through the back door. Take a moment to just slowly start to expand and hit that growth edge of yours and do something spontaneous. Take a different route home and just see how that feels, how refreshing it is. If you're wondering, how is doing one act of spontaneity a week bringing me back into choice? What it's doing is it's disrupting the pattern of normalcy. It's disrupting the routine and the habit and the autopilot. And if you want more resources for that, check out the page, because last month, again, lots of resources on how to break out of normalcy from a place of feeling safe. So lean into the wild card day. Let me know, what is one thing that you'd like to put in? What is your day? Let me know in the comments. Yeah, I know that I see in the comments, we're currently looking for freedom, currently working towards leaving my 9 to 5. Yes. And so how can we do that? How can we start to create more choice in our life, to really hit our desires and goals, to really climb our version of success and freedom? What's your wild day card going to be? Saturday? Sunday? and take a moment to really reflect on what you're going to do, because in that moment you're going to start to feel all nervous. Oh my gosh, I'm doing something weird. I'm taking a different route home. I'm wearing these crazy pants. I hope no one judges me. Your nervous system's going to get into survival mode. That inner critic's going to go. Your hippocampus, think of it as the hippo in your brain, goes underwater because it starts to freak out. So your memory might be a little impacted. It might be hard for you to act outside of the box and to be spontaneous if you're going into survival. Not your fault, especially again if you've been in this pattern for a very long time. Totally normal. So just plan and prep ahead. What's that going to look like for you? I'm Des Caminos, everybody, embodiment and somatic practitioner, and it has been such an honor to be here, to be with you live, to sharing resources around the illusion of choice. And if you're feeling like a different kind of choice right now, if you're feeling like I've got a choice of commitment to myself, reach out. Drop me in the comments, and what I'll do is I'll be sending you a special fun self-alignment vow that you can sign to celebrate your commitment to yourself. And I know this is going to be a journey. It's going to come with multiple recommitments. Your choice is going to evolve with you. So don't stop evolving, because you're amazing and you deserve a life of freedom, a life of emotional freedom where you feel safe in your mind. You deserve a life of your choices, where you're in control of making your choices, not your fear, not your parents, not society, not your ex, not your partner, you, mother lovers, because you're amazing. So, everybody, I've hoped you enjoyed this Thursday Tickles, and yeah, I've started to put myself out there, allowing myself to be seen, taking a breath and feeling the beauty of that. I'm celebrating you rising from within with all of the work that you've done to be at that place, to be able to start showing more of yourself to the world. Because I know it's not always easy, it's not always fun, and it doesn't always feel safe. Because we live in a wild world out there where they love to tell us what's normal, and they love to judge. But I see you in the work that you're doing. I see you in everything that you are. And I'm celebrating everyone for all the gentle steps that they're taking, the sustainable steps they're taking on their nervous system, because you're amazing. Go on with your bad self. Bye, everybody. Follow for more resources on TikTok and my Women of Wisdom community. Get ready, because we're going to have a wild card day. Bye, everybody. Awkward time where I get off live. Ba-dum-ba-ba-dum-ba.